Are private search engines worth it? Let's find out. Privacy-focused search engines have been becoming increasingly popular amongst those who are concerned about the data harvesting that big tech companies do. It's also crucial for those who wish to seek information via covert means, that is, they want to access the internet without leaving identifiable traces for tech companies or law enforcement to see, and potentially, use the information associated with that person against them in a court of law. So there are many valid reasons to ditch Google or Microsoft Bing in favor of a private search engine. However, the biggest downside is that privacy-focused search engines tend to be less relevant for certain types of queries and categories, and while they might be unbiased, and do not build a profile on you, they still gotta make money somehow. So many, including DuckDuckGo, have ads that generate the company's revenue, but these advertisements are not shown based on prior behavior and browsing habits. Instead, they are based solely on the keywords used in a query. So if you search for shoes, then DuckDuckGo will only be showing you ads based on the keywords you entered in your query. There are many private search engines, all of which offer slightly different features, privacy policies, etc. Some will even anonymize your searches by sending them through a proxy first, before redirecting you to the internet, better enhancing privacy and security for those who really need it. StartPage notably offers an anonymous view feature, which lets users view web pages anonymously using StartPage, and this does indeed anonymize your activity, as it sends it through a proxy, or various proxies, known as a proxy chain. This stops prying eyes like your government and internet services provider from seeing what you're doing on the internet, and depending on what sort of stuff you search for, you may not want them knowing every search term, keyword, etc., because that information could technically be used against that individual. If anything was to ever happen to them, law enforcement can demand that Google, Microsoft, or whoever, give over the user data, which will also likely include any searches done with Google or Bing. This is why privacy is becoming of massive concern to some people. Some feel as though the authority that Google and Microsoft has is unjust, and rightly so, because in reality, they use their money to buy influence, then they use that influence to gain power, and that's how Microsoft and Google, as well as all the other tech giants, got to being where they are today. Nobody worked hard for that position of power, there was no blood, sweat or tears in the process. Bill Gates had his wealth from day one, and the people at Google were university students who had just finished their degrees, and would go on to found the world's most popular internet search engine of all time, Google Search. Private search engines come in two main forms, paid for, or subscription-based, and then there's the free ones, but the freebies have major controversy as to how their revenue is generated. Some believe that StartPage and DuckDuckGo, even though they have been proven to never give out user data, or even log it, collect user data, store it, and then sell it to third parties and advertisers, but that's not even remotely possible. Thanks to the guaranteed privacy policies that these private search engines have, you can certainly trust their privacy policy more than Google's, but it's not just the privacy policy alone that matters, it's also the convenience for privacy factor. So if the search engine offers comparable results to Google or Bing, then you can easily find the balance between privacy and accuracy. However, if you want the most security and top-notch privacy, then you may have to trade your relevancy and convenience for privacy and anonymity, but the trade-off may be worth it, depending on what you do. So if you like searching the web without being tracked, logged, traced, and all the rest of it, then you should definitely consider switching to a private search engine. And unlike switching to Linux, switching search engines is super easy. All you gotta do is change your default search engine in your browser of choice. You can even add a custom one that does not normally ship with your browser of choice. The private search engines will never store anything related to your searches. Not a single cent's worth of user data is kept when using any private search engine, so long as that search engine has been accurately tested and proven to not sell user data, let alone keep it or log it in the first place. Paid search engines such as YACY go by a subscription-based model, but at the advantage of having zero ads on the web, none whatsoever. This ensures a very clean and private experience, which also means you're more likely to get higher quality rankings and results, thanks to the heavily reduced spam or clickbait content. But the big question is whether or not you can justify paying for a search engine such as YACY, because while it offers an ad-free experience, most would not want to pay to search the internet. Some, like me, would think that is armed robbery, and rightly so. But in YACY's case, please remember that they are not making money off of advertisers or user data, so they have to make their money and compete somehow, and that's the only way YACY seems to be able to do it. I am very happy that the privacy does not come at the cost of user data. Okay, but most of the private search engines don't do any sort of funny business with user data, So then what, you may ask? If you really want the best of everything, I reckon you need to do one of two things. 1. Try a meta search engine, such as web crawler, Metager, or Search Encrypt. Meta search engines scour other search engines for results, so it can give you great variety. Using a crawler can help identify where your information is coming from. Crawlers are also helpful for finding multiple results from various sources, and if a meta search engine is not cutting it for you, then you could go one step further, and run an instance of a search engine, such as YACY, or SEARXNG, to ensure that none of your precious data is being sold, stored, or spied on by someone. Or, you can go your own way, and build your own search engine. Not only does this offer you complete and total control over all of your queries, it ensures the maximum level of privacy for your preferred level of accuracy and relevancy, and you can decide whether or not you want to rely on corporate search engines, or you want to develop your own crawler. Whichever way you go, you should be guaranteed to have total privacy, along with no user data being sold for a profit, or even worse, being sold on the dark web, and you can see for yourself which option suits you the best. And if you really want maximum privacy, perhaps consider hosting your own instance of SEARXNG, or YACY. These two open-source search engines can be run locally on any computer running Windows, Mac OS, or Linux. It's relatively easy and straightforward to run your own search engine, provided you have the skill set, knowledge, resources, and time necessary to do so, but I reckon it's the best way to ensure none of your data is being sold to anyone, by anyone. And the whole reason of using a private search engine is so that we can worry not about our data being harvested by the big tech giants. So switching to a private search engine, only to have your information leaked, stolen, sold, etc., would largely defeat the purpose of using one. Thank God none of the well-known privacy alternatives have been known to leak user data, or sell it to third parties. Whether or not private search engines are worth it really depends on your preferences, so if you value user privacy more than anything else, it's the sensible and responsible thing to do, to switch to a private search engine. But if you want the best of both accuracy and privacy, then it may take some time to find the perfect fit, and you may never end up leaving Google for something else. A crawler can help as it scours results from various search engines, all at once, so perhaps that's the best way to get a bunch of different results, from different search engines, and then, you can compare the results with Google or Bing, and see how they compare. But it might take quite some time before you find the perfect Google replacement, if you ever end up finding one. But for maximum privacy, say no to big tech companies selling and stealing user data. Please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. See you next video. Bye for now.